if you looked close enough, you might see that like when a raindrop like got near enough to her, it just turned into snow and then landed.
If Sathra stands within 5 feet of you for too long, she gets sleepy.
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna go to bed. She's about average height, so a little bit shorter than Sathra, and is probably holding a dog by the like harness and trying to keep him out of whatever fighting and also mud.
Yeah, how big is your dog?
So her dog is like not like a wolf sized. It's like a husky. It is a husky. And he has like a like those light bright blue husky eyes. And he's a good boy. So he's probably sitting there and like wagging his little tail on the ground, but not like trying to go after anything or smell any smells. He's a good boy. He's probably like knee height when he's sitting, maybe a little bit like half thigh height, just average size for a husky.
Well, when we're down, the camera is down at husky level. I imagine that's the first time that we see your character, Dave. Oh, and sorry, Dave, before you describe your character, Blue Jay, what is your character's full name? I definitely couldn't fit it on the overlay.
Yeah, the ... is because her full name is November Solace, one with the ephemeral everything. And I don't know if it's the naming structure of her people, but like whenever she has a new or different experience that is really like formative, she adds to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So we pan down and we see this very eager dog kind of at your side, November. And then next to or nearby, we see our third party member. Dave, you want to describe your character?
Yeah. Tiny little, a gnome, a 3 feet tall gnome. You can't really see very much of because they're mostly comprised of a really big wizard hat. I think probably pointy at one point. It's got the kind of flop on the end by now. All in relatively dark colors, wearing a robe as well that matches. The hat itself is characterized by it has like a scary face, like sewn into it.
So kind of like the Sorting Hat from Harry Potter, like that kind of like scowly face on the front of it, or is it more like cartoony?
It's a little bit more cartoony because I think they sewed it themselves and not very good at it. But if you look closely, you can see peering out from the eyes, there are actually holes. And if you look in, you might catch some little cat eyes because their familiar sits inside their hat and looks out of the eye holes on the face.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and most of Cesara's like face is covered by the wide, low brim of this oversized hat. And then they have kind of nice robes, which are a bit tatty at the ends because they're too big. So there's lots of like wear on the hems and stuff like that, and then a kind of cheap, dull wooden staff as well. One bit you would see of Sororo's face is glowing, silvery eyes that seem to take a bunch of the light.
Cool.
She stars.
Nice. Cool. So we're gonna get like official art made of the characters, but for now, I did my best. I scoured the marketplace for tokens, and I found this one for November. And there's November's tiny doggo, and then this is the only appropriate snake lady I could find. But I think it's pretty good. She's maybe not wearing the correct accoutrement, but I got the scowl is nice. The little angry face is good. And then I thought this was a nice one for though too big. I need to make it like about that big.
That big, yeah.
But the funny thing is, your cat is normal cat size. So there we go. So these tokens are they're from Yuikami. I've used them before in a couple of other games. They're like my favorite kind of stand-in tokens for stuff. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're all really cute. And it was great looking through them and finding them. So I found Ice Princess, Snake Lady, and then Tiny Big Hat. And I am very pleased with these. So we'll use these ones. Okay. So we see the group of you kind of like step out, and the crowd has learned their lesson. Basically, they got a little bit upset. They got a little bit like, "You got to let us out. You can't keep us here. We're not prisoners of Baldur's Gate." And the Flaming Fist was like, "Shut your mouth!" And they pulled out their batons and they just started fucking batoning people. So we see Zodge like wiping commoner blood off of his club, and then a couple of the other Flaming Fists are either dragging away unconscious commoners. You see 2 Flaming Fist guys going through somebody's pockets after he's just been clubbed unconscious. And Zodge is just shouting orders like, "Get them out of here! You back off!" And so you see them all kind of like standing around shouting at people.
Well, seems like a nice fella.
I think that's our man.
Oh, well, this is all relatively distasteful, but fine, whatever. This is what we come to expect living in such a lovely place. The rent's cheap.
I don't really see the problem. Like,
yeah, right. When you say that, we pan over and there's just like some unconscious commoner being like dragged away through the mud. Yeah.
Well, then, should you be the one to speak to him? We'll follow where you lead.
Certainly. I step forward towards our friend, the Flaming Fist captain that we've been told to report to.
Okay. Yeah, and I think
What was his rank? What was his rank again, Adam?
He's a captain. He's Captain Zodge. And I think probably we may as well just go and say that Bryn hooked this up for you. So like you, after the failed coup, and Altus slipped away from you. Altus, your betrayal. You were looking for work, and the recent times of chaos, Bryn set this up for you. And I'm not sure we'll leave it up to Lauren when she comes back to tell us where she was, but she basically put you in touch with Zodge and was like, "Listen, I got these people, they can fight. Go and meet with the captain, and he'll give you work." And he's a captain for now, but maybe someday he'll be a general. But for now, just a mere captain, Captain Zodge. So so you see him. He's got the eye patch. He's like spins his baton around, and he turns and he sees you approaching.
Captain Zodge.
The same.
Bryn Oram sent us. You wanted some capable people?
I wanted some capable people, but, well, you got to work with what you got. And he looks at November, and then down at the dog, and then over at this strange hat that has a person under it, and he says, "Well, Oram said she knew some unusual people, but, well, you're not quite what I expected."
Baldur's Gate's full of unusual people.
Right, and that's what we're trying to prevent. And he looks over at the gate. You can see it kind of like rattling a little. And even from here, you can hear the sounds of unrest from the other side of these refugees trying to get in.
I feel like there's a moment of like, agreed.
Yeah, right. Like, just, it's fine. So he looks at it for a little while and kind of like, strokes his chin, and he turns back and looks at you grimly, maybe wipes some greasy hair out of his face because it's like raining and he's a little sweaty from beating the peasants. He says, "This refugee crisis stoked fears that Baldur's Gate might suffer the same fate as El Terrell, of which nothing remains but a hole in the ground, apparently. Our Grand Duke," and he says this like quietly, he kind of leans in case there are people around who haven't heard it yet. He says, "Our Grand Duke, Alder Ravengard, was visiting El Terrell on some kind of diplomatic mission when the city was destroyed. Coincidence? Nah, I think not." And he kind of gives you a conspiratorial, like, "Yeah, there's,
Quite right, my good man. No such thing as a coincidence.
Yeah, and he kind of, for the first time, he looks down at Sosrovo and is like, I like the cut of your jib, talking hat. He turns back to November and Sathra, and he says, the Knights of Eltergard call themselves Hell Riders. Few of them escape the destruction and think we're somehow to blame for Elturel's downfall. What a bunch of self-righteous rabble-rousers. We're arresting them on sight, but, well, you know, all the arrestings left us short-handed to deal with another problem. That's what
and
I
that
need.
problem...
And he points like, that's what I need you for. He says, Baldur's Gate's long been, plagued by followers of the Dead Three. Bane, Ball, Merkel. I thought we'd wiped them out, but apparently not. These purveyors of fear and death are taking advantage of the current crisis to commit murder sprees in the city. As my appointed deputies in this matter, you'll have license to eliminate these wretches on sight.
Sounds like a good deal.
Find their lair and wipe it out. Eliminate anybody who gets in your way and, well, don't you worry about collateral damage. If you do what I say, I'll see each and every one of you receives 200 gold pieces. In addition to, well, my gratitude, which I consider to be worth considerably more.
Sathra had already stopped negotiating when he said, you can kill these guys and we don't care.
Sanctioned murder, you might call it. A few blocks away from the gate is a tavern. Elf Song. A spy of mine named Tarina hangs out there, gathering rumors for the guild. She owes me a favor, so tell her you work for me. Ask her what she knows about the Dead Three, and for the love of Baldurin, be nice. Tarina's got dangerous friends.
Oh, not that place with the rats in the cell.
Sathra, if you want to make a history check, you probably know a thing or two about taverns in Baldur's Gate.
Sure. 12.
Let's see. So with a 12, the Elfsong Tavern, you'd pretty much know only the base level stuff. So it's owned by a guy named Alan Aleth. He's the owner and proprietor.
I'm sorry, Alan Tudyk?
Alan Aleth.
Alan Alda?
Aleth. No, not Alan. Different. Let me just take a quick sidebar here to discuss some expectations for the campaign. Bullshit Forgotten Realms NPC names are A, all over the place, and B, always fair game to make fun of, so it's cool. So it's owned by, a fairly, he's an older dude, fairly, uninteresting, just, tavern keeper. But what brings people to the Elfsong Tavern is that randomly, at seemingly, unpredictable intervals, there is singing that fills the tavern with a melancholy song. That's what it's named after. There's, an elvish woman. Apparently it's haunted or cursed or something, but she sings a sad song in Elvish every once in a while. And that's what the tavern is named after. It doesn't seem to have any kind of, deeper connections to the guild or the patriarchs or any of those things. But you recognize it by its name.
All right, cool. The Elf Song. Yes, I'm familiar with it.
You're going to need these. And he turns to one of his lieutenants or whatever who has a package that he's opened. And he hands out badges with the sigil of the Flaming Fist on them.
Sweet.
Doesn't really go with my outfit.
It really doesn't. They're brass and they have the red and yeah, it's not. So let's see.
I knew this would either start with working with a Flaming Fist or getting arrested by the Flaming Fist.
Yeah, you get one or the other. So this is that little sigil, these diamond shaped badges with the Flaming Fist.
Awesome.
So that everyone knows when they look at you just who you serve. So these are your deputy badges. They are handed out to you. And then, really, before you get a chance to ask any more questions, Zodge turns because there's another fight seems to be breaking out, and he turns and he looks at you and he says, "Get it done." And he turns and goes into the crowd.
I love that we meet him beating people up. Conversation ends, he goes right back to punching guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Flaming Fist. This is how they work.
When you find out something you're really, really good at, it's kind of your responsibility to do
do it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're really good at boot heel oppression.
Yeah.
Make sure you're doing it, right?
I
Yeah.
think that November takes the badge like as it's handed to her, and she looks at it and like looks at her like very fancy new leather armor that like she like it's all white and blue, and this is like red and orange, and she like goes and pins it on the dog's harness instead.
Okay.
And
Yeah, the
then
dog just like wags his tail and looks up at you like he doesn't know what's going on, but it's very excited about it.
now my dog's a cop. Everybody.
You know, by the time the night is done, that's going to be covered in blood anyway.
Well, I was really hoping that. I mean, she seems more prepared for wading in. I just stand farther back and maybe. I'm sure they have good launder.
I certainly hope this isn't just a meeting. Sure. I like.
Yes, you seem very enthusiastic, so I thought I'd let you handle it.
I am very much. And then I say, I turn like looking at the party, like the Elf Song Tavern. Then
Sure.
All right.
Follow me. Like, off we go.
Okay.
Ooh, it's a map.
Yeah. So here is the aforementioned city of Baldur's Gate. So the Chianthar River is what the source of this water is, and it leads. If it goes west, it goes out to the Sword Coast, and then out into the ocean. East to Elturel and Elturgard. You, my dear friends, are. Let's see here. You're over here at the Basilisk Gate.
Mm-hmm.
And the Elf Song Tavern is over here.
Oh, okay. Looks like a pretty straight shot.
Yeah.
Academic question for you, Adam.
Yeah.
Is Baldur's Gate larger or smaller than Waterdeep?
It is. I think it's considerably smaller.
I thought so, but I want to just make sure that, like, scale-wise...
Yeah, so Baldur's Gate is... Let's see. There's like... Of course, I can't look it up because there's this video game that's also called Baldur's Gate, and that's all... Maybe you've heard of it.
All right, well,
see.
That's all I need to know, if it was bigger or smaller.
Yeah, I'm curious. Now I want to look. It is...
I do know the aesthetics are quite different, but...
Okay, so it's between 120,000 and 140,000 people as of a census taken, 20 years ago? I think, in the 70s?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
In the 70s, like the 1370s?
No, the 1470s. It's 1492 today.
1492. I kept thinking it was 1420 for some reason, probably because of all the getting high.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So there's 140,000 people, which means it is, let's see, Waterdeep. I imagine that there's probably like a swell in the population right now because of the
refugees.
The refugees that got in. Yeah, Waterdeep is, survey says, 2 million.
Okay, yeah, much smaller. All right.
Yeah, give or take. Okay, cool. So much smaller, denser concentration of badness. Okay, so you're heading from the Basilisk Gate through the lower city towards the Elf Song
Tavern.
Yeah, and is there any preparation that you want to be doing along the way? Any conversation you're having, or do you just sort of like trudge quietly through the muck?
Do we have any idea of what the buildings are in between? Like, are there like shops and things? Are these like people's houses? Like, what are we passing?
Well, so there's essentially like 3 layers of quality living vis-a-vis Baldur's Gate, right? If you live in the upper city, you're rich and things are probably mostly okay. You live in the lower city, there's not a lot of middle class in Baldur's Gate, so you're probably poor. And then if you live in the outer city, you're like super poor. So this is the lower city. It's fine. It's everywhere else in the world would probably call it like bad, but it's fine for Baldur's Gate. I imagine that it's mostly down by the gate. It's mostly like way houses for travelers who've just arrived in Baldur's Gate after a long time on the road who need to rest. Probably some taverns, some warehouses for like land cargo.
Yeah.
But as a result of being in the lower city, like, crime and what have you, there's a fairly common thing when walking through the lower city called "Are they asleep or is it a corpse?" Where you peer into an alley and you see someone just like lying there on their face, and you're like, maybe they're super drunk, or maybe they're a corpse. We don't know. Baldur's Gate has seen some.
We don't know, and Baldur's Gate doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, and I think that as you walk, you you see some graffiti on a wall that says "They live" in huge letters, and then there's 3 skulls, and then a badly drawn like a fist and a knife and some tears. And that's pretty common around the city. Like you've noticed in the lower city, a lot more of that Dead 3 like style like signs that they maybe lurk in this place still.
So we were instructed to go talk to, sorry, what was her name?
Tarina.
Tarina, and that she had some dangerous friends.
Yes, just be nice to her because she's well connected.
And she's staying at a tavern in an area that's known for people that like just got off the road.
No, the Elf Song is a little further in. You can see it's like a ways off. It's a few blocks away. And it's just kind of a middle of the road like fantasy tavern. Honestly, it probably has like 16 bars of looping background with the occasional like triggering of the singing.
So, Zaj, Captain Zaj, he instructed us to be kind to this woman. Should we bring a gift or?
Oh my god, awesome.
Do you have something in mind?
Well, she's already at a tavern, so I don't think alcohol would be appropriate.
Well, you're welcome to use any gold that you actually own. I am a little bit short, hence taking on mercenary work for the Flaming Fist.
Ew.
Do you realize that was a pun?
I'm sorry, I'd already forgotten what I said.
Oh. You said short as in funds, but you're also quite short as in height.
Yes.
After is literally following along as if this explanation is incredibly necessary.
That's true. Been a gnome for a very long time. Fairly aware of this facet of my personality.
I just wondered if it was on purpose.
I think perhaps respect is the best gift we can bring. Just be polite.
Sure, that's free.
I mean, I have the tanned hide of it. I don't know if she does. All right.
Perhaps.
Do girls like tanned hides? Is that an appropriate thing to bring to a tavern as a gift?
I mean, I spent a lot of time and effort tanning the hide.
I guess it depends on the lady in question.
Well, if we see something along the way.
I also happen to think that if we have these badges, she's going to answer the questions that we have for her anyway. So.
Well, sure. But I didn't think, he specified.
I think it was more be nice in the way the Flaming Fist are nice, as in not punching her face.
Right, we have people we're allowed to kill and people we're not allowed.
This one, no. Others that we find, yes.
Sure. Well, that's one way to be nice. Sure. Well, let's just go there then.
Okay. All right. So, so you have permission to kill anybody who is proven to be a member of the Cult of the Dead 3. The Flaming Fist will not blame you for that. The only other people who might get in your way would be the City Watch, and they mostly take care of the upper city. They mostly don't really care about this part of town. So yeah, you make your way to the Elf Song Tavern. So when you get there, I have a little map for you.
Ooh.
The Elf Song.
Oh, it's got a map, huh?
Oh shit, those are thugs. I know thugs.
So the Elf Song Tavern, you arrive. It's a tavern in Baldur's Gate, right? It's leaky and it's drafty. The central room smells of several days worth of reheated stew. Though there is a faint like pipe smoke like pipe tobacco smell in the air. And this place has a couple of characters at the front desk here as you come in at the front, who immediately grab your attention. The bouncer is sitting outside, currently in the rain, looking miserable.
Oh, the really big guy. Jesus.
Yeah, she is she's a half ogre, I think.
Awesome.
And she's just sitting there on a stool, much too small for her, being paid far too little to keep an eye on the door. So when you come in, she doesn't really even look at you. She just kind of like casts a glance over you, and then you walk inside.
I make a point to ask her if dogs are allowed.
Okay, so you stop and you look up at her. So she's sitting there, arms folded. She's sitting on a little stool, like tottering back and forth, trying to get comfortable and like leaning against the wall. And you walk up to her.
I'm so sorry. I haven't been here before, but as you can see, I have an animal. Are they allowed in the tavern, or should I leave them here with you? He's very good.
Dog like looks up, wagging his tail, and
he's just like panting, like
yeah. She
looking
says,
like an idiot.
"Is this some kind of special dog?"
No, it's just a dog. I mean, he's very good, like exceptionally good. I would say that's special.
She leans in and kind of squints at it and looks at you, and she says, I let weirder things than this in and out of this place.
Right. So that's yes, he's right.
She just shrugs.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, this place has a 1 drink minimum, so.
The dog. Okay, but does it say what kind of drink?
So she doesn't care. You let the dog. The other thing that is interesting as you come in is the suit of armor, quote unquote, that is standing by the door as you come in. And at first glance, it looks like it's just decorative. It's a slightly rusty suit of armor standing seemingly on its own accord. Someone has painted in amateurish letters on its chest the word "clank" in big red paint letters, and its helmet turns slightly as you come in, as if watching you enter.
Oh, great! Cool.
Yeah.
I think the dog, when it comes in, immediately goes over to sniff the suit of armor.
Okay.
Just like this thing.
Yeah,
and then
it doesn't move.
Like,
it just looks down.
Oh.
Yeah.
It does? It looks...
Yeah, like it looks down when the dog runs over. This thing's clearly animated in some fashion. So you come in, and you can see back at the bar, you recognize him, Sathra. It's Alan, the owner. And Alan is either wiping the bar or like cleaning a glass. He switches back and forth between those two activities, kind of idly. The room is pretty full. There's mostly human clientele. It's quiet and dark in here. There's no musician. This isn't the yawning portal. There is a subdued and kind of like dingy atmosphere, and everybody around here is either drinking or smoking a pipe, or both. And a couple of the tables, the silence is broken by the rattling sound of dice in a wooden cup, and then the smack of the cup on the table. And it is clear to you that these people at this table are playing a very popular game here in Baldur's Gate called Baldur's Bones, I think it's called. Yeah, that's right. So Descent into Avernus came with its own minigame. So if you like Gwent or Triple Triad...
Triple Triad, baby!
Yeah, if you like that Triple Triad, they are playing a very popular game in the taverns of Waterdeep, which I think probably all of you, except maybe November, you wouldn't know it. But let me see if I can find the rules for you. Let's see, because you can definitely.
But I don't have any money. Literally zero money.
Yeah. Here we go. Taverns in Baldur's Gate.
Did we get a physical description of this person we're looking for?
No, you did not.
Whoops.
You just know her name is...
I know the owner. I'm just going to ask about Tarina.
Tarina, yeah.
Tarina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here's the rules for Baldur's Bones. Cool.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So it's a game, I'm sure you've played it before, Sathra. So yeah, you come in and I think probably like the people closest to the door give you a like glare, like don't let the breeze in, right? But for the most part, it's just look up, acknowledge that there are new people in the bar, and then just like look back down and don't worry about it.
It's blackjack.
It's blackjack with dice,
Uh,
Should we take a table or?
why don't you sit down and I will speak with the owner about who we're looking for.
I like turn to the suit of armor and I'm just like, do we need to? Can we take any table, or do we have to wait to be seated?
Ever been to a tavern?
I look over my shoulder as I'm like walking over towards the bar and I go, any table, November.
I mean, I haven't spent much time at tavern.
So you said this
Yeah.
person behind the bars are...
Yeah.
I'll let the others move their tokens to where they want to be before I...
And so Sorova, this place, like, everything is too big for you. The tables are above your head. The chairs are all at eye level. You're staring at a lot of people's legs.
You get used to it. You live a couple of 100 years when things aren't made for you. There's just a lot of, like, actually reaching up and climbing up into a stool. Undignified.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I encourage the dog to like sit under the table, kind of, so he's not in the way of anyone else going around.
Okay. Here, I can give you control.
Yeah, I didn't have control over the pup.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I can move my good boy.
Okay. All right. So you, the two of you, get a table. The dog sits down. A good dog sits down by your feet.
Starts eating some leftovers that somebody didn't clean up.
Yeah. Maybe eyeballs a rat. And Sathra, you walk up to the table. Okay.
Alan? Is it?
And he looks up, and Alan is like I said, he's an older dude. He's a half elf, so he's probably a lot older than he looks, and he looks pretty old. He's got gray hair and
He's like 60, but he's like 140.
Yeah, right. And he's got wrinkles around his eyes, and like he moves a little slower than he maybe used to. And when you come up, he kind of gives you a squint, and he says, "Yeah, I'm Alan."
I feel like when Sathra talks, she makes very direct eye contact.
Yeah, right, like withering eye contact.
Yeah, like absolutely penetrating eye contact.
And like you look away in the hopes that she'll look away too, and then you look back and she's still
looking at you.
She's fucking giving it to you.
Just, like, not embarrassed by the idea of that. Like,
right.
I'm looking for a patron of your establishment, Tarina. The Flaming Fist sent us.
So when you say, do you show him the badge? All right. So his whole attitude changes, and he says, Tarine, I think she's upstairs. Listen, I didn't expect y'all for another few days. I'm still a bit short.
And I lean in. And I go, I'll take what you have now.
And he nods and he's like, all right. And he crouches down, and we see from his perspective over his shoulder, he crouches down, and under his bar, there's like a little hook under the bar with like a maul like hanging on it. And he reaches under past that, and he pulls a bag down from like a hidden spot, and he stands up and he puts it on the counter, and it like clatter. It's clearly like a pretty fat bag of gold. I think, I'll let you count it when you get a chance. So he puts it on the counter, and he slides it ahead, and he says, that should cover both of my businesses. The tavern's a bit late. I'll get you back next week.
Of course. We appreciate your cooperation. Like...
Yoink! Nice, good stuff. Okay, so Alan has said that Tarina is upstairs, but as you turn around, everyone in the bar hears a faint sound of like wind, kind of like whistling through trees or something, and a few people smile and nod at each other knowingly. Alan barely registers, but then the voice that begins to emerge, seemingly from nowhere, seems to startle Alan. There's something about this that isn't quite right. Does anyone in the party speak Elvish?
Nope.
Nobody speaks Elf.
Oh wait, I have another.
Yep,
Hmm.
I totally do.
Oh yeah, you do.
Okay. All right. So it's beautiful. The song is beautiful and sad. It's clear that it's in Elvish. Everybody needs to make a steel test or be ensorcellated.
Wait,
You don't actually. No, you're fine. So you hear Elvin singing, and Sosorovo, you're the only one that understands the lyrics. How is your memory, Sosorovo? Would you be able to just like remember a short song if you heard it once?
Yes. Yeah, the plan is to become keen-minded.
Yeah. Well, and you're a wizard, right? Half of a wizard's job is memorization. So
Sure is.
all right. So you should be able to see the lyrics to this Elvish song. And it takes a moment. There's several verses. I think Sathra and November, you, despite it being in Elvish, you pick out the word Elturel a few times. And so you hear this song, and when it completes, everyone in the tavern is kind of looking at each other like, some people are nodding, but Alan looks like pale and sort of confused. And you notice this, Sathra, because you're still standing near him when the song begins to sing.
She doesn't normally sing about current events, does she?
I don't know.
And like over by the counter, I'm like, something the matter?
I just I never heard the song was different.
Do you think that they come to our table, or do we have to go up to the bar to get anything to drink?
I'm hoping she'll bring some back for us, yes.
I'm like, oh, the song's different? I don't care. And then like,
Yeah, right. You're just like, I don't understand it.